some areas that show you what we're looking at on Monroe Road. This project is estimated to be about $250,000. This is Bill's Bluff Phase 4. It would pick up at Condon. It would go all the way to North Shore and then from North Shore over to Harbor View. It's currently the longest segment of sidewalk. It could be broken up into phases if needed. It's about 4,400 feet. Again, like we had with the other side of Bill's, well, we're actually going to cross the road here and try to avoid some of the wetland areas on Bill's Bluff that are adjacent to the marsh. And over on that side, we've got a lot more piping drainage. So not as much to contend with. Just to show the preliminary design overlay on a aerial map. And this project is estimated to be about $446,000. Again, being the additional cost because of the length of this particular project compared to the other projects. Yes.
If I could interrupt a second, did you say that it was going to go all the way down to North Shore, or was it going to go to Fort Sumter?
I'm at Fort Sumter.
Okay. Right.
Thank you for correcting that. And the other segment, the sidewalk that we're working on is Neighbors Drive. Like I said, it's been surveyed. It's about 2,150 feet of sidewalk. It will pick up the sidewalk that's proposed on Regatta and provide a sidewalk all the way back behind, the shopping center along Neighbors Road, and pick up as a small piece already constructed before you get to 12 Drive. These are some of the issues along Neighbors Drive. We've got a lot of open ditches, existing mailboxes, street signs. This project right now, our preliminary cost estimate is about $470,000. Again, this one, what's driving the cost up here is the tight working area and the right of way, the drainage ditches that are open along the side of the road. And that's what I have on the sidewalk update. Any questions?
Any questions?
Is there any estimate on when some of these projects that have already been designed are going to be completed now that we've acquired the permits? For example, the Phase 3 Seaside to Condon project.
So I believe you all have gotten funding from the CPC for that project, and they have elected to build it. I'm not sure what's holding them up at this point, but we turned over a project that was permitted, today.
Report on that, maybe the last intergovernmental, but we can send that up next, or just get a report from Charleston. Presume Charleston County's managing.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate y'all's work on these projects. And next we have public comment. So I have Brian Lincoln.
Hello, Council. I'm just here to check in on the Clearview traffic issue that we, talked about some months ago. I've been out the last 2 meetings and just been back in town, so I don't know what more we can do to kind of help push this issue. But we had an incident about a week ago with a speeder coming in, which we talked to the police about, and we have on video. But still some real safety concerns, and it's great to see y'all doing sidewalks and, speed bumps in other neighborhoods. We'd like to see something done in Fairview. So anyway.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Jim Boyd. Boyd.
How you doing? I'm loud. I don't need the microphone. So I just wanted to reiterate again, talking the Clearview subdivision, right? I did notice as I switched over, I did notice the meetings from last month. I do apologize, we could not make it. We were all set of town. And I went through the notes and everything from that sort, and I understood we couldn't make it. So what I wanted to go through here is August 11th, literally a week ago today. About 11:30 at night. I know police have not seen this video yet. We just got this from the neighbor literally tonight right before we came over. There was a girl in a vehicle, actually two females in a vehicle, driving a minimum of 75 miles an hour down 25-mile-an-hour road, straight down Clearview. Right? I would say her actual speed was closer to 90, but minimum 75. I'll show a couple of videos in a minute. She came in, she went out, she came in, again, all the same speed. We had 15 to 20 kids, teenage boys, before school started last week, playing basketball, with the hoop on the side of the road. She literally about hit them all at the same time, coming in that fast. I didn't have enough time to even get out of the way. Right, the reason I'm bringing this up is this happens literally weekly in our neighborhood. All we asked for was a traffic study to be done, traffic calming to be done, right? Whether it's four-way stops, speed humps, the speed sign you guys put out for a whopping 10 days, right? Separate one. Still love to know how much that costs for Divinity to come out and look that up, and then come back out and remove it 10 days later. This girl, another person and I that is here tonight, we went and we confronted her. Went and knocked on her window, right? Please have this on recording. It's on 911 recordings. We knocked on her window, I confronted her. I said, "Why were you driving so fast in the neighborhood?" Little worse language in that at the time, right? And she said, "I just need my weed." This is literally a known drug dealer. I read a background check on him last week. Been arrested 4 many times. Right. So going through here, this is the road that we're talking about. It's coming down Fairview, around this corner to this house right here. That's it. Right. So as I fire this up here, here's video one. I did bring it off audio, so if you listen closely, you can hear it. There she is coming in. Tires for each sheet, she was driving so fast. That's not even that sharp of a corner at all. Right? So let's head back again. Here she is going right back out. She sat in the middle of the road. That was her honking at us, screaming, "Fuck you." Again, forgive my language, that was her words. As she drove past at 11:30 at night on a Thursday. Then she goes ahead and goes back in. Video looks identical to the first one. It's not as time date stamped. Here she is coming back in. Again at the same speed. Since we started this whole process, we have actually started going out and talking to neighbors, finding neighbors and bringing doorbells, finding everything we can to prove our point. We understand that you guys shut it down last month. Again, forgive me, we weren't here. We couldn't prove our point as we go through these things. All we're asking for is a traffic study to be done. And really, at this point, we're not even asking for that. You guys just did it in 2019. None of the roads have changed. No stop signs have been added. Nothing's been added since 2019. Why in the world would we need to pay another $8,500 as a town for another traffic study to be conducted? It's already done. You already have the plans for it. It was already approved by the entire neighborhood, and then you didn't even do it. So then I'm going to go back to the point for the meeting notes actually 2 months ago, because again, I missed last month, but this is in last month's agenda notes that's posted on your website. I have this highlighted in here. Your own Director of Public Works, Mark Anderson here. If you read the highlighted section, it says the traffic data warrants further study. Flat out said, it. All of us heard it. Half of us here in this room were here that night. All of us heard it. Yet you still decided to shoot it down the next month. We're just asking for something to be done. Please, if we know it's not their fault, they can't, there's only a couple of them across the entire Charleston County, we get that. Hence why we're asking for stop signs. Who cares to stop an extra 3 seconds? We're just trying to watch out for our kids and our families, and hell, this girl almost rolled her car twice. She would have ran into a house twice. How much worse could that have been? We had now 2 dead teenagers on the side of the road. Again, that's what we're asking for. As you see, I'm passionate about it because I've not been hit. As I've said many times, my wife, my kids, neighbors, all of it. That's all we're asking for. Finished. So.
All right, next we have Laura Tavis.
I'm done.
Thank you. And then we have Ryan Shearer.
Good evening. I'm Ryan Scher. I want to reiterate what Jim just said. I was actually there the night past Thursday. And quite troubling, honestly. Somebody hauling that much to stop and get weed. I mean, I understand that. I mean, you can get weed wherever, but I mean, why do you have to go that fast, that many times down a single road and not have any repercussions? I think we need to revisit this traffic study. And I beg you to please, because this is out of control. I'm talking to you, Mr. Mayor, right now. I would like you to revisit this traffic study. That's it. That's all I want. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's all we have for public comment. So next, the consent agenda is there a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next, we go to the finance report.
Well, I don't have a ton to report. Not because we haven't been doing anything, but so much of it is being accrued for last year. And this is sort of, I won't say preliminary, but I think there'll still be a few changes in the budget report, but anyway, the franchise fees that we're showing here are from Dominion. The insurance was paid to Smurf, $17,000 for insurance. Under code and safety, I found an error yesterday. Under benefits, taxes, and fees, that amount should actually be $55.45. And under hospitality, we made our first installment to Low Country Local First, which you all voted on last evening for $4,500.
Okay, anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question, and it kind of goes along with the matching funds for the Oak Point Sewer 319 grant. What would that be in our budget? Do you know that?
I don't.
Under capital projects.
It would be under capital projects? What category?
It's in the budget. So I'm not sure. I think we'll look into it.
Okay, I'm sorry, I just was trying to figure out since we're not spending it on where it would be. Trying to keep track.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, on administrative report.
Just a couple of things to report. We have been working with a couple of companies. We've had 3 come out so far to provide some permanent AV solutions for chambers. To make live streaming more audio and visually enhanced for the public. So hopefully we'll have a recommendation at either the September or the October meeting. Just an update on the solar panel installation projects. The town hall permit application is in process with Charleston County Building Inspections. So we expect that approval soon. And we are still collecting a couple of quotes on the electric meter box moving project that we discussed at the last meeting. So we'll have an update on that whenever we get that piece of the puzzle figured out. Some happy news. The Low Country Local First Business Academy will be starting their 12-week program out of the Arts and Cultural Center towards the end of this month. We also have a new staff member on board. Sarah has joined our team to help as a program support specialist over at the Art Center. So she's been getting settled in and fits in very well with in her role. Also at the Art Center, Caroline had received or applied for a grant through the city of Charleston to do advertising of the center. So that this watercolor that you see behind me, one of the students that attends watercolor classes at the center did this nice painting. So that will be used in the advertisement. That was very nice. Her name is Betty McMichael. And then the last news, I'm sure you all have seen the new sculpture that is on display outside of the Art Center. That was a public art donation from Blaine Steiner. She's a recent Master's of Fine Arts graduate from Tulane University. Her family lives on James Island, so she thought that the center would be a great home for her sculpture. And the sculpture is called Speaking Color, and it's made of glass and metal and has been a part of several different art show rotations across the country. So the last piece of the installation is we'll be constructing a small slab so we can tie it down and it'll stay safe. And I believe that's all I have.
Any questions? Thank you. Public Works report.
Good evening. This is the report for July. There were 6 new requests for service in July. One was drainage related. Staff responded to all the requests. We held our monthly meeting with stormwater managers, and staff assisted with the Municipal Association of South Carolina tour and resiliency presentation here. Staff participated in the National American Public Works Association virtual meeting for Small Cities and Rural Communities Committee. And just to tell you a little bit about what that is, that gets public works officials from small cities and rural communities around the nation together to discuss common issues and ways to solve them. So it's very interesting. Staff had a traffic counter on Pauline in July, and the tubes failed to remain secure to the pavement, so the data was compromised. But we fixed all that. We got new nails, things like that. So right now it's on Yorktown. Staff participated in meetings to discuss the James Island Creek Basin study. Staff participated in a meeting with county engineers about a proposed roundabout at Fort Johnson and Camp. And staff did vegetative maintenance and built 5 potholes in July. And our new staff is trained up mostly in field operations.
Are there any questions for?
Yeah, I have a question. Mark, this has to do with some of the impacts associated with the roundabout at Fort Johnson Camp.
Mhm.
I had a constituent asked the question about what the impacts to the grand trees might be.
Very minimal. I think there's only 1 or 2 that need to come out as opposed to like 6 or 8 with the other plans. And they're going to do some trimming. I think Dominion's going to handle that.
Okay,
It has to do with moving one of their power lines.
and then the other question had to do with the impact to the stone post gateway itself.
Those are going to have to be moved back.
So they're gonna move them back. Are they gonna stay in roughly the same position? Yeah,
Well, they're going to be in a different position. You
right,
mean the way they're shaped?
right.
It's being discussed that they be made a little bit smaller. And remember, those are not the originals. Those are put in there They've been repaired 3 times that I know of in the last 10 years. So, yeah, they're
So
probably,
with the,
it'll probably change on both because one of them's going to be between 2 driveways.
okay,
And for site reasons, we have to be conscious of that. People have to be able to see it get out of the driveway.
right.
So,
Okay, and I also wanted to say, I actually attended the Mass Seed presentation that you and Matt Fountain gave here at Town Hall. You guys did a really great job, and I think a lot of people benefited.
thank you, appreciate that.
That's all.
The next intergovernmental. Graduation. They're planning to here. Fort Johnson.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, so,
Great those things.
so
Get a
what's the date again?
It's set for September 28th. We just set the date today.
All right, very good, thank you.
I would like to add one thing to what Mark said. We did, when we had discussions about moving the posts, we did suggest that it might be nice if the community could have a visual, so a rendering kind of showing what the revised posts may look like and where they would be located. That might be very helpful for the community to kind of picture what it is versus what it will be.
I agree, I think that would be a great thing to have. Set people's minds at ease.
Exactly.
So Mark, did you put our radar sign on?
Yes, I did. In 2 different places and got complaints from both residents. They did not want them there, could not get their boat in. It was right in front of their house. And so for the nonce, it's not out there. We're going to find a better place for it and put it back. And just to keep in mind, this is a temporary radar sign. It's not permanent.
And what's the cost on?
Putting permanent ones there?
No.
Oh, put this thing out there? There's no cost. We have all the equipment.
All right, thank you, Mark. You had a question?
Okay, that was an opinion, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Island Sheriff's Patrol. Island Sheriff's Patrol.
Good evening. I just want to say that, of course, National Night Out was August 2nd, and it really went well. The weather was very hot if you're here, but it went over really well. We had a lot of our toys out, I guess I should say, and the huge command post that the county has and everything. So it was a great night. I'll go over some crime statistics that we have. We had on July 9th, we had an auto break-in, unlocked vehicle where some credit cards and the fanny pack and some gift cards were taken. We actually had on July 15th, we had a recovered vehicle, recovered stolen tag, some actual stolen computer, drug violation, and identity fraud. There was went through the ALPR, silver Dodge Ram with the ALPR. It was stolen through Myrtle Beach, stopped with a stolen tag. And Mr. Ruddy and Miss Collins were in the vehicle, searching the vehicle. There was an Apple laptop stolen through Charleston PD. There was also a stolen gun, meth, heroin, marijuana, unknown purple pill, cell phones, and one was stolen, and they were charged with an array of charges. At the community store on July 22nd, over at 608 Harborview, there's a vandalism where a passenger used a sledgehammer to break out the glass door. And the female got out the vehicle and stood around, didn't do anything. They never ended up entering. I believe that's because of the alarm. And we weren't able to make any connections to that with any vehicles at this time. We had a larceny at Camp Road 1700 block. There was a black dog 6x12 tandem axle trailer carrying red bricks was stolen on July 25th. In Farmington, over on Valley, there was a Springfield Armory 40 cal that was reported stolen to Charleston PD. It was located by a property manager, hidden in the bushes in a red baggie. And at this house used to be a drug house, so I don't know how old that gun was, but people lived there before. We've done about 2 or 3 search warrants on the house over the years. James Island, 1120 Fort Johnson found a firearm, a Ruger Blackhawk. The obliterated serial number was located in the front yard. Testing is going on that one. So on August 11th, night of August 11th, I'm sure you've probably seen the news behind the Walmart. City of Charleston had a homicide where a female was stabbed and a male was murdered.
with a hatchet. And that night, we ended up, we called the dogs out, called, I was in the helicopter. We were flying. We had no description, anybody other than a white male. We had a kind of a brief description of what we were looking for. Later on, Town of James Island Deputy Richardson was actually working the town up until 2 o'clock in the morning. He's getting off at 2 around 1:15. He took another lap around, continuing. This happened about 8:30, and he was continuing to drive around. He located a white male walking down the roadway, tied him to the crime with some packaging that he cut open. He left at the scene, a bloody towel, and through video surveillance that we ended up getting later from Walmart, where he purchased some things, and then of course Folly Beach, where he'd stabbed 2 other people at Folly Beach the weekend before. He was actually linked to the crime, and it's going to be a very good prosecutable case. So Deputy Richardson, amazing job. We had no links to anybody, and the only way we probably found him would be the next person that he probably stabbed or possibly killed. So definitely a great job by one of our Town of James Island deputies, when the other deputies were obviously out doing running other calls and everything. So it wasn't for him being there at the right place at the right time and getting out with him and recognizing some of the indicators. And he actually got consent to search his book bag and everything else, which yielded the a better investigation, and of course ended up making a great arrest. So just want to let y'all know that some of the good work that's going on out here, when you have somebody get murdered and stabs 4 people, there's no telling who was next. And he was a local James Island gentleman who was, and we don't know why he did it. We don't know what the motive was or anything like that.
Any questions or? Look at James now. How many law enforcement officers do we have that work on James?
31.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, we greatly appreciate what Deputy Richardson did.
Yes, sir.
Next, we have a request for approval by staff, first Bill Bluff sidewalk phase 4 for the engineering.
Yes, so as you saw, Miss Laura present earlier this evening, the next project to move forward with the design would be the Dills Bluff Phase 4. So, and that, just as a reminder, that extends from Condon Drive to Fort Sumter and then along Fort Sumter to the end at Harbor View. So the charges for that portion of the project would be roughly $39,000.
Mayor, I'm gonna have to recuse myself from this vote, because I live on Fort Sumter Drive.
All right, is there a motion in favor?
Motion so moved.
So, Councilman Bowles, second by Councilman Mullins. Any questions or discussion? So I generally think it's desirable to keep on moving these things forward, and the construction is gonna be expensive. You know, it could be next step, and hopefully we can get PST and PPP funding for this part as well. We will be asking for on that for the construction. All right, if there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye. Opposed, that passes. All right. Next, we go to Stone Coat Ocean Drainage Improvement Project, change of scope fee to include bidding and construction phases.
So to continue on with that project, the next phase would be bidding and construction. So Thomas and Hutton, who has been working on this project already, has given us a proposal of $33,500 to do consulting work with the town, do the bidding, construction, close out, and then any reimbursable expenses.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
The questions or discussion?
I do. I have some questions. When I was reading through this, I was wondering what the previous cost was for like the construction, like the 19,500, that's not actual construction, but management of the construction, is that
Correct. Yes, so that's oversight, checking in on the project, having meetings, going on site.
How long do they expect to be for this to take?
For this phase, I believe it's roughly 1 year.
So they're not, the exclusions on this are like, they're not gonna do accessibility, construction, compliance, verification, landscape and landscape buffer, that would be something additional. that we would have to
Correct.
take care of.
Yeah.
Is that typical? for-
Yeah, for what we've asked them to do, just to assist us through these initial processes to get things in order. But we can ask them, if the time arises that we need some additional assistance with these other exclusions, we can add that on.
So really, the major expense for this project is the new construction.
Right.
It'll be a lot more. And we'll be coming back to council after it's been bad, we got, bid for agriculture. And if we were to include in that contract landscaping, which I don't really see that, but if we did, then that would be part of what the contract would do. Okay.
Mhm.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that passes. Next, we go to landscape service and cost modification.
So I included a letter in the most recent packet update that we received from Hart Pine, who does a good deal of our general landscape maintenance around the island. Where they, of course, are feeling the effects of cost of labor increases, cost of materials, cost of, pretty much everything like everyone else. So where they have not increased any of our prices since we originally contracted with them in 2021, I believe is when we first started this indefinite delivery contract with them. They have proposed some price increases. So on the spreadsheet, I did each task is numbered out of exactly where it's located, what we have currently been paying, and then the new contract amounts, and then the final column shows the difference. So a handful of them had no price increases. Some of them had modest price increases, and some others had more extensive price increases. So this is just to bring forth that we will have an added expense. And it's roughly $990 more per month.
So there's a motion to approve. Second,
Second.
discussion.
Yeah, if you do the math, it comes to $67,500 a year, right?
Mhm,
For this, which is a pretty good chunk of change.
mhm.
At some point, it might not be a bad idea to consider doing our own groundskeeping. As an idea of moving down the road. I know that Public Works could always use some additional employees. This might be a place to put them going forward. We also have some parks that I know that people on staff have been working on.
Mhm.
So it might not be a bad idea to make this a consideration the next time we go through the budget process.
Nikki is already looking at all these tasks. I believe that there are some of them that involve twice monthly mowing that you could reduce from once. Is that correct?
Mhm.
And then we're thinking about the parks and youth grounds and the art center having that done by our staff. And so one of our public works employees is probably on deployment, but also the possibility of adding on staff. And that we might get like a 0 sort, but for to work on this and over from that. So with those proposals, but you looking at all this, actually that was yeah. Is so any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next, we go to town hall copier contract. Is there a motion to approve?
So
I'm sorry.
I would like to point out that this is a different company than what we currently use, and the cost is, about half of what we are currently paying. So it's a significant price decrease. And also an interesting piece of this contract is that they do, a tiered based system for color copies. So something that maybe has one or two stripes of color, you're not getting charged the full color copy price, which I thought was a great business model. But yeah, so this would be a new company, but they had a significantly better cost, for the town, and that would be a 5-year term contract.
So move the motion, and is there a second? No, second, okay. Any questions or discussion?
I have a question. So on your administrative report, you're talking about a dedicated copy machine for the Arts Center.
Yeah.
Is this from the same company?
So no, so I would need to get back with them because I feel sure that they could do a similar cost breakdown for a copier at the Art Center. The one that's in the report is from our old company.
Okay.
So that could be greatly decreased as well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. So now BCP Information Technology Services Contract.
So another cost decrease. They, with advancements, I guess, with Microsoft Office, the 365 suite, some of our current configurations have now been consolidated under commercial seats. So that the proposed cost would be decreased by $208 per month from what we are currently paying. And that would be for a 3-year contract term.
Their motion to approve, second,
Second.
any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next, we have the Highwood Circle Drainage Project.
Mark, do you have anything you want to add on this one?
Y'all see the pictures there and everything. Well, it's another inlet box that has a failed joint somewhere in it, and so county's gonna have to dig it up and make the repairs.
Is there a motion to approve?
some
Second.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next, we go to request to approve $441,000 town contribution to grant application for infrastructure, South Carolina Infrastructure Investment Program to fund sewer expansion, really far up the hill road, Oakland Drive.
So this is another multi-jurisdictional grant opportunity that the PSD is so kindly heading for us. So the way that they broke down this cost was the town of James Island would service 174 septic tanks. So that would equal 81.31% of the total coverage that would be in this project. And that is how the calculation was equated to $444,000 roughly. And this actually can be a part of, we can use our local ARPA funds to use towards this match. So there are not any stipulations where we can't use that funding to contribute to another grant project.
Is there a motion to approve?
Dave's here if you have any questions.
So, well, I'll make the motion. This is second.
Second consideration.
Discussion.
Yeah, I have a question about public engagement. Have the people that have these tanks been contacted about the possibility of them going on the sewer?
Not directly. Not at this point.
So right now, we have to apply by the 12th of September. And the Rural Infrastructure Authority has promised to get back to us by the first quarter of 2023 as far as the selected projects. So we will know by the end of March if we get the 85% of the $10 million roughly. So just to put it in perspective, this is a very competitive grant. And North Carolina had a similar program where they had $900 million pushed down from the feds and ARPA. They received $4.4 billion worth of requests to fund 900 million. So that's what the RIA expects. What we have going for us and the difference between the last time I was here is that the district received $1 million earmark in the state budget. And so Spencer Wetmore fought very hard to be able to get that $1 million earmark. And so that constitutes the majority of the local match. And so you'll see that $1 million accounts for the state budget that can be used towards the local match. And we have to come up with the $500,000. And that's how it's detailed down. So I will be going to CWS on the 30th of August to ask for that portion of the local match. And then I go to the commission next Monday night to ask for the $18,000. I don't see any resistance either way. I've spoken with CWS, and as we sat here, I received the letter of support from Charleston County, and I already have a letter of support from Charleston Waterkeeper and all the rest of the stakeholders with the James Island Creek Task Force. They all thought it was fantastic opportunity for us to put $500,000 into local match to turn around and be able to have a $10.3 million project and get the 199 septic tanks adjacent to the creek onto public sewer.
I think that sounds very positive, very positive. But again, has the public been engaged with this? Have they received notice that they might be going on sewer?
No, not until we have the funding secured. So obviously we've been trying. Last fall, the RIA, we got turned down for the $500,000. And then we went through the SCD for the 319 funding, and obviously that didn't come through. The $1 million earmark is the first milestone towards securing the funding to be able to do this.
Yeah, I think that's really a positive step. Would all of these monies put together adequately be able to take care of these septic tanks as we've already programmed it? Or will there be additional monies necessary to improve the infrastructure to get everything to where it needs to go?
And so what you see in that $10.3 million budget for the project, that is all encompassing.
Okay,
So
that's everything.
it's everything.
So we won't need to come along and put a new pump station and something.
That there is a pump station included within there.
Very good. Okay. That's my question. Great. Thank you.
So if these, and forgive me, so if they get moved to sewer, if they get added into the sewer expansion, what happens to the septic tanks? Do the owners have to empty those and
We would abandon, as part of the project, you have to actually connect the interior plumbing of each one of those properties to the low pressure system and abandon the septic tank.
but not to be gross, but what happens to what's in the septic tank at that moment? Does
That,
it continue to go out into the
That-
creek? Is there,
as part of the abandoning process, you pump it out.
and with the sewer expansion, is this with that electric grinder
The E1 pumps, yes.
that only work for a couple of days if there's no power? So you have to go around and do generators to pump them out, is that correct?
Correct.
Is that the same one? Thank you.
Any further discussion?
I have a question, sorry.
Oh, that's right.
You was walking away. What, I think you answered this, but I want to make sure I heard you right. We were here before and we talked about matching the funds. That did not. Yeah, is that right?
So previously, last time I was here, I was asking for 320,000, and that was specifically just for Oak Point. And this is 444,000 for the entirety of those three communities, Oak Point Road, Up the Hill, and Julian Clark.
But we are not Okay, so this is that 320 plus 4.
No, scratch the 320,
Right.
that didn't pan out. I'm asking for 444,000. The 320 is,
Gary, I think that was your question, so we didn't pay.
I remember that we didn't pay any, we said that if there were, if the matching funds arrived, then we were committed to do it, so what you're clarifying is that the matching funds did not arrive, so our obligation is now. It's not there, we're not obligated to that.
right, and so
This is
now,
a new and separate, it supersedes that other thing we talked about.
right, so the skip is how the skip grant, the South Carolina Infrastructure Investment Program is how the state's Rural Infrastructure Authority is administering the ARPA funds, the $900 million sitting there. And so we are a small system compared to a large system has to come up with 25% matching funds. We have a local requirement of 15%. And so that 320, we're not asking for that for just Oak Point. We're asking for 444,000 for all three of those neighborhoods. Parlay that with $1 million earmark, and that gets us to being able to come up with that local match.
Suppose we don't get the grant is not in.
Then we continue to seek other funding sources.
So we would pay.
Right.
Any $444,000.
Correct,
We would
and
not pay that if, unless the state provides.
the skip
all
money.
this money.
Right, and so, as you probably understand, we had several legislators in Columbia working to get that $1 million earmark. Besides Spencer Wetmore, you had Leon Stavronakis, you had Chip Campson, Senator Sen, Margie Bright Matthews, and Kyle Michelle, our lobbyist, is working to get a letter signed from the legislatures to be able to provide that to the RIA as this part of this skip application, in addition to the city of Charleston and Charleston Waterkeepers and Charleston County and the town of James Island and all the stakeholders for the James Island Creek Task Force. So there's going to be a lot of support for this. And obviously, because we got that earmark for $1 million, they want to see that kind of parlayed into making this a reality.
I suppose, so be successful on these grant years is part, we have funding or some way to have public meetings to explain to the residents what happened.
Absolutely, and CWS would be part of that. These are multi-jurisdictional neighborhoods. The city of Charleston, we would want to be able to engage all of those residents and have meetings about why we're doing what we're doing.
Any further questions?
I'm so sorry, to go back to the pumping out of the 374, so that would be on the owner to do that?
No, that would be part of the abandoning process. When we actually go to hook them in and abandon that septic system, that would be part of that.
And do you typically, have you had historically a lot of these residents in these three neighborhoods expressing desire to be included in sewer expansion?
The main motivation is the Terracon report, the watershed management plan that was accepted by SCDHEC as far as these are the steps that need to happen. Obviously, to clean up the watershed. And so the town of James Island, the city of Charleston, and Charleston County are the stakeholders responsible. The PSD is kind of spearheading that effort to be able to expand the sewer that was identified in that watershed management plan.
And I most certainly want the creeks cleaned up too. I'm not saying, I'm not sitting here fighting for septic tanks to poison our waterways. I'm just having some questions.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Okay, so next we go to committee reports, land use committee.
Yeah.
Yes, planning commission and DCA both met this month. Planning commission was discussing some potential amendments, to be discussed at off-street parking, different things, so it would impact smaller businesses. And DCA, the KFC, case came back before them and that was denied. And that's my report.
So we have a nomination here. Is that correct, Betsy?
It's Councilman Bowles.
Yeah.
My understanding is that Ed still has been there for a while, interested in continuing, and I didn't see any reason to disrupt that. So I'll go forward as.
Okay, so that would be your nomination. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Let's go to Environmental Beautification Committee.
Yes, thank you. James Island Pride met today and we set some dates and some goals. This Saturday, Stan Kozakowski is coordinating a Helping Hands event. Helping Hands is a group of people who help our citizens who can't take care of their yards. They mow the grass, they do some light raking, generally some light yard work and take care of the plants. If you wish to get involved with this group, they're meeting this Saturday at 9 a.m. at Pinckney Park. Go to Pinckney Park, they'll give you some gloves, they'll give you a t-shirt, and go out and cut some grass. It's usually over by about 11. So that's a real positive thing. Anybody who might be interested, I have a list of dates for upcoming events that Helping Hands will be sponsoring. The next one after this Saturday is in October, on the 22nd. You're a part of a group, youth group, scout group, a school group, a club, want to get involved, you can contact Stan Kozakowski at 860-847-0544. His number is also on the flyer that I'm happy to share with you after the meeting. James Island Pride is going to organize its Adopt a Highway Litter pickup on Saturday, September 10th. This is going to be an island-wide pickup. We're going to meet here at Town Hall at 9 a.m. Pick up trash for about 2 hours and then return to Town Hall here for pizza. So if you want, you can join us September 10th from 9 to 11 and help beautify the island. James Island Pride is also accepting nominations for our annual Community Hero Award. The Community Hero Award allows the town of James Island to acknowledge and thank volunteers who have given significant time, talent, and energy to our community. So candidates should demonstrate evidence of volunteer activity in areas of leadership, community service, and mobilizing the generations by contributing to youth and adults working together in partnership within the community. So please get your nominations in for Community Hero. The nomination form is on the town website. Nominations need to be made by October 12th, so we can make the award in December. Our next James Island Pride meeting is scheduled for September 15th at 6 o'clock here at Town Hall. This is a great group of folks to get involved with. We have fun helping our community. You could like us on Facebook and find out what we're up to and attend some meetings. That's all I got.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, no report for Children's Committee, Public Safety Committee, Councilor Miller.
First of all, I have a nomination of William Forsley for Farmington. I can put his name in nomination.
Is there a second?
Yeah, he will be on neighborhood council to represent the Farmington.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And our next meeting is a week from today, the 25th at 7 o'clock. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Hey, no report for History Committee. We think probably Road, when's our next meeting?
It will be next Wednesday at 3:30.
Drainage Committee,
Yeah, our quarterly meeting will be August the 24th at 3 o'clock, which is a Thursday. And that's about all on that.
Business Development Committee,
No report.
Revised Committee.
Yes, the Peer Advisory Council met on August 9th to discuss plans for a South Carolina Arbor Day event on the first Friday in December. We also discussed with Mark Johnson, from Public Works, ways to partner with this department to replace disease trees and the plant trees in open areas along the Untitled right of ways. I want to thank town staff for posting the Longhorn Beetle warnings, as August is Longhorn Beetle Awareness Month. It does not take too long to check your trees, and if you notice holes almost the size of a dime, you may have beetles. If you suspect you have beetles, call the Beetle Hotline at 843-973-8329. That's all I have.
Thank you. James Island Intergovernmental Council meeting September 28th, I believe it's 7
Mhm.
here.
Yes.
That's our planted, so we should see a call for agenda items soon. I don't think we have completely determined whether the city of Charleston will pick up the administrative function. We'll
Mhm.
continue with
Right.
that.
We're gonna meet with them.
September
September 28th.
That's a Wednesday.
Mhm.
Here it's 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Okay, next we have proclamations and resolutions. It's a resolution 2014, and this is to authorize the exercise of eminent domain to acquire title to the real estate property on Green Hill for our drainage. Is there,
Sure. Yes, so this is the very last parcel. The firm that we've been working with has been trying to resolve this matter for a few years now. So an agreement has not been come to, so now we'd like to move forward so we can get this project onto the next phase.
There's a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
One second.
any discussion?
We don't want to pay for it.
So the legal fees on average are $3,000 to $5,000, and the parcel, the offer was for $2,090.
This has been going on for quite a long time, this right of way acquisition. Before I was on council. How many years is that?
It's a little bit, if we're going.
It was, yeah.
And this is the last, this particular parcel, the owner said the last. I expected, it was reasonable that. That they would come to this, but hopefully we'll get this finished and get the construction done and final.
So this imminent doing this will make a big difference with all the drainage. We can't go forward with the drainage without it.
Right.
Right, okay.
So any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. There's no ordinances for first reading or second reading. There's no old business. Is there any new business? All right, I would like to make a motion to go into executive session, discuss contractual matters related to the acquisition of land. Is that? Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes.
Right. Got it.
This is, don't talk about reading one with all the series.
Right.
Yeah.
what
I was
happened.
gonna give you the email address, with the battery guy.
Oh, really?
Right when I came in, it said low battery.
So, we're returning to regular session, no vote for pay and no decisions made. Now we have announcements and closing comments, Councilman Bowles. Councilwoman,
None for me, sir.
Nothing for me.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching. Please.